Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K.
This is Eric.
Yeah, today is the 31st of July 2021, and the time now is 6:18 a.m. Well, today is a reading session, and we are going to continue reading the book Atomic Habit. So before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so here we go. Oh, okay, so today we start from line 1100. One-time actions that lock in good habits. Nutrition. Buy a water filter to clean your drinking water. Use smaller plates to reduce caloric intake. Sleep. Buy a good mattress. Get blackout curtains. Remove your television from your bedroom. Productivity. Unsubscribe from emails. Turn off notifications and mute group chats. Set your phone to silent. Use email filters to clear up your inbox. Delete games and social media apps on your phone.
Happiness.
Happiness. Oh, yeah.
Get a dog. Move to a friendly, social neighborhood. General health. Get vaccinated. Buy good shoes to avoid back pain. Build a supportive chair or standing desk. Finance. Enroll in an automatic saving plan. Set up automatic bill pay. Cut cable service. Ask service providers to lower your bill. Of course, there are many ways to automate good habits and eliminate bad ones. Typically, they involve putting technology to work for you. Technology can transform actions that were once hard, annoying, and complicated into behaviors that are easy, painless, and simple. It is the most reliable and effective way to guarantee the right behavior.
This is particularly useful for behaviors that happen too infrequently to become habitual. Things you have to do monthly or yearly, like rebalancing your investment portfolio, are never repeated frequently enough to become a habit. So they benefit in particular from technology remembering to do them for you.
Other examples include medi- medicines. Prescriptions can be automatically refilled. Personal finance. Employees can save for retirement with an automatic wage deductions. Cooking. Meal delivery services can do your grocery shopping. Productivity. Social media browsing can be cut off with a blocker.
When you automate, when you automate as much of your life as possible, you can spend your efforts on the task machine cannot do yet. Each habit that we hand over to the authority of technology frees up time and energy to pour into the next stage of growth. As mathematician and philosopher Alfred North Whitehead wrote, civilization advances by extending the number of operations we can perform without thinking about them.
Of course, the power of technology can work against us as well. Binge watching becomes a habit because you have to put more effort in to stop looking at the screen than to continue doing so. Instead of pressing a button to advance to the next episode, Netflix or YouTube will autoplay it for you. All you have to do is keep your eyes open.
Technology creates a level of convenience that enables you to act your smallest whims and desires. At the mere suggestions of hunger, you can have food delivered to your door. At the slightest hint of boredom, you can get lost in the vast expanse of social media. When the effort required to act on your desires becomes effectively zero, you can find yourself slipping into whatever impulse arises at the moment. The downside of automation is that we can find ourselves jumping from easy task to easy task without making time for more difficult, but ultimately more rewarding work.
During, during the year I was writing this book, I experimented with a new time management strategy. Every Monday, my assistant would reset the passwords on all my social media accounts, which locked me out on each device. All week I worked. All week I worked without distractions. On Friday, she would send me the new password. I had the entire weekend to enjoy what social media had to offer until Monday morning when she would do it again. If you don't have an assistant, team up with a friend or family member and reset each other's passwords each week.
Yeah, Eric, I think you have jumped a line.
Really? Oh,
Mm, yeah, it's
yeah.
okay. I read 1136. I often find myself gravitating toward social media during any downtime. If I feel bored for just a fraction or a second, I reach for my phone. It's easy to write off these minor distractions as just taking a break, but over time they can accumulate into a serious issue. The constant tug of just one more minute can prevent me from doing anything of consequence. I'm not the only one. The average person spends over 2 hours per day on social media. What could you do with an extra 600 hours per year?
One of the biggest surprises was how quickly I adapted. Within the first week of locking myself out of social media, I realized that I didn't need to check it nearly as often as I had been, and I certainly didn't need it each day. It had simply been so easy that it had become the default. Once my bad habit became impossible, I discovered that I did actually have the motivations to work on more meaningful tasks. After I removed the mental candy from my environment, it became much easier to eat the healthy stuff.
When working in your favor, automation can make your good habits inevitable and your bad habits impossible. It is the ultimate way to lock in future behavior rather than relying on willpower in the moment. By utilizing commitment devices, strategic, strategic one-time decisions, and technology, you can create an environment of inevitably a space where good habits are not just an outcome you hope for, but an outcome that is virtually guaranteed.
Chapter summary. The emergence of the third law of behavior change is make it difficult. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that locks in better behavior in the future. The ultimate way to lock in future behavior is to automate your habits. One-time choices like buying a better mattress or enrolling in an automatic savings plan are single actions that automate your future habits and deliver increasing returns over time. Using technology to automate your habits is the most reliable and effective way to guarantee the right behavior.
How to create a good habit. The first law, make it obvious. 1.1. Fill out the habits scorecard. Write down your current habits to become aware of them. Use implementation intentions. I will, behavior at time, in location. Use habit staking. After current habit, I will, new habit. Design your environment. Make the cues of good habits obvious and visible.
The third law, make it attractive. Use temptation bundling. Pair an actions you want to do with an actions you need to do. Share a culture where desire behavior is a normal behavior. Create a motivation ritual to something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit. The third law, make it easy, reduce friction, increase number of steps between you and your good habits. Prime the environment. Prepare your environment to make future actions easier. Master the decisive moments. Optimize the small choices that deliver outsized impact. Use a 2-minute rule. Downscale your habits until they can be done in 2 minutes or less. Automate your habits. Invest in technology and one-time purchases that lock in future behavior. The fourth law, make it satisfying.
How to break a bad habit. A version of the first law, make it invisible. Reduce exposure. Remove the cues of your bad habits from your environment. Inversion of the second law, make it unattractive. Reframe your mindset. Highlight the benefits of avoiding your bad habits. Inversion of the third law, make it difficult. Increase friction. Increase the number of steps between you and your bad habits. Use a commitment device. Restrict your future choices to ones that benefit you. Inversion of the fourth law, make it unsatisfying. You can download a printable version of these habits cheat sheet at atomichabits.com cheat sheet. The fourth law, make it satisfying.
The cardinal rules of behavior change. In the late 1990s, a public health worker named Stephen Ruby left his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, and booked a one-way ticket to Karachi, Pakistan. Karachi was one of the most populous cities in the world. By 1998, over 9 million people called it home. It was the economic center of Pakistan and a transportation hub, with some of the most active airports and seaports in the region. In the commercial parts of town, you could find all the standard urban amenities, amenities and bustling downtown street. But Karachi was also one of the least livable cities in the world.
Over 60% of Karachi's residents live in squatter settlements and slums. These densely packed neighborhoods were filled with makeshift houses cobbled together from old boards, cinder blocks, and other discarded materials. There were no waste removal system, no electricity grid, no clean water supply. When dry, the streets were a combination of dust and trash. When wet, they became a muddy pit of sewage. Sewage. Mosquitoes colonies thrive in pools of stagnant water, and children play among the garbage.
Unsan- Unsanitary conditions lead to widespread illness and disease. Contaminated water sources cause epidemic of diarrhea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. Nearly one-third of the children living there were malnourished. With so many people crammed into such a small space, viruses and bacterial infections spread rapidly. It was this public health crisis that had brought Stephen Ruby to Pakistan.
Second line, one, two, three, fourth, the fourth words. This one is epidemic, and you pronounce as epidemic. So the stress,
Epidemic,
yeah,
epidemic,
yes,
epidemic,
epidemics. And for
epidemic,
this one, yeah, just now I couldn't hear clearly. And this one is, I think, diarrhea.
diarrhea, diarrhea.
Yeah. Luby and his team realized that in an environment with poor sanitation, the simple habit of washing your hands could make a real difference in the health of the residents. But they soon discovered that many people were already aware that hand washing was important.
And yet, despite this knowledge, many residents were washing their hands in a haphazard fashion. Some people would just run their hands under the water quickly. Others would only wash one hand. Many would simply forget to wash their hands before preparing food. Everyone said hand washing was important, but few people made a habit of it. The problem wasn't knowledge, the problem was consistency.
That was when Luby and his team partnered with Procter and Gamble to supply the neighborhood with Safeguard soap. Compared to your standard bar of soap, using Safeguard was a more enjoyable experience.
In Pakistan, safeguard was supplement soap. Ruby, Ruby told me the study participants commonly mentioned how much they liked it. The soap forms the soap formed easily and people were able to lather their hands with salt. It smelled great. Instantly, hand washing became slightly more pleasurable.
I see the goal of hand washing promotion not as behavior change, but as habit adoption. Luby said, it is a lot easier for people to adopt a product that provides a strong positive sensory signal. For example, the mint taste of toothpaste than it is to adopt a habit that does not provide pleasurable sens- sensory feedback, like flushing one's teeth. The marketing team at Procter and Gamble talk, talked about trying to create a positive hand washing experience.
Within months, researchers saw the rapid shift in the health of children in the neighborhood. The rate of diarrhea fell by 52%, pneumonia and by 48%, and impetigo, bacterial skin infections by 35%.
Yeah, second line as well. In impetigo, and
Vertigo.
yeah, you pronounce as impetigo. The long-term effects were even better. We went back to some of the households in Karachi 6 years after. Luby told me over 95% of households who had been given the soap for free and encouraged to wash their hands have had a hand washing station with soap and water available when our study team visited. We had not given any soap to the intervention group for over 5 years, but during the trial, they had become so habituated to wash their hands that they had maintained the practice. It was a powerful example of the fourth and final law of behavior change. Make it satisfying.
You're more likely to repeat a behavior when the experience is satisfying. It's entirely logical. Feelings of pressures, even minor ones like washing your hands with soap that smells nice and lathers well, are signals that tell the brain, this feels good, do this again next time. Pleasure teaches your brain that a behavior is worth remembering and repeating.
Take the story of chewing gum. Chewing gum had been sold commercially throughout the 19th centuries, throughout the 19th centuries. Okay, but it wasn't until Wrigley launched in 1891 that it became a worldwide habit. Early versions were made from relatively bland resin, chewy but not tasty. Wrigley revo- revolutionized the industry by adding flavors like spearmint and juicy fruit, which made the product flavorful, and fun to use. Then they went a step further and began pushing chewing gum as a pathway to a clean mouth. Advertisement, advertisements told readers to refresh your taste.
Tasty flavors and the feelings of a fresh mouth provided little bits of immediate reinforcements and made the product satisfying to use. Consumption skyrocketed, and Wrigley became the largest chewing gum company in the world.
Toothpaste had a similar trajectory. Manufacturers enjoy great success when they added flavors like spearmint, peppermint, and cinnamon to their products. These flavors don't improve the effectiveness of toothpaste. They simply create a clean mouth feel and make the experience of brushing your teeth more pleasurable. My wife actually stopped using Sensodyne because she didn't like the aftertaste. She switched to a brand with stronger mint flavor, which proved to be more satisfying.
Almost, Honestly, when an experience is not satisfying, we have little reasons to repeat it. In my research, I came across the story of a woman who had a necessity relative who broke a nut. In an attempt to spend less time with the egomania, she acted as dark and as boring as possible whenever he was around. Within a few encounters, she started avoiding her because she found her so uninteresting.
Yeah, uninteresting.
Uninteresting.
Stories like this are evidence of the cardinal rule of behavior change. What is rewarded is repeated. What is punished is avoided. You learn what to do in the future based on what you were rewarded for doing or punished for doing in the past. Positive emotions cultivate habits. Negative emotions destroy them.
The first three laws of behavior change: make it obvious, make it attractive, and make it easy increase the odds that a behavior will be performed this time. The fourth law of behavior change: make it satisfying increases the odds that a behavior will be repeated next time. It completes the habit loop.
But there is a trick. We are not looking for just any type of satisfaction. We are looking for immediate satisfaction. The mismatch between immediate and delayed rewards. Imagine you're an animal roaming the plains of Africa, a giraffe or an elephant or a lion. On any given day, most of your decisions have an immediate impact. You are always thinking about what to eat or where to sleep or how to avoid a predator. You're constantly focused on the present or the very near future. You live in what scientists call an immediate return environment because your action instantly deliver clear and immediate outcomes.
Now switch back to your human self. In modern society, many of the choices you make today will not benefit you immediately. If you do a good job at work, you'll get a paycheck in a few weeks. If you exercise today, perhaps you won't be overweight next year. If you save money now, maybe you'll have enough for retirement decades from now. You live in what scientists call a delayed returns environment because you can work for years before your actions deliver the intended payoff.
The human brain did not evolve for life in a delayed return environment. The earliest remains of modern humans, known as Homo sapiens, are approximately 200,000 years old. These were the first humans to have a brain relatively similar to ours. In particular, the neocortex, the newest part of the brain and the region responsible for higher functions like language, was, was roughly the same size 200,000 years ago as today. You are walking around the same hardware as your Paleolithic and ancestors.
It's only recently, during the last 500 years or so, that society has shifted to a predominant, predominantly delayed returns environment. Compared to the age of the brain, modern society is brand new. In the last 100 years, we have seen the rise of the car, the airplane, the televisions, the personal computer, the internet, the smartphones, and beyond. The world has changed much in recent years, but human nature has changed little.
All right, so yeah, I think they stop here. All right. Okay, so to make a summary, I think for today, firstly, it did talk about the part of technology. And for technology here, it is also uh, has two direction. One is good, one is bad. And for the good direction, we can use technology to help ourselves. For example, to in our real life example, we can set the alarm to remind ourselves to do something, and then we can also maybe use some uh, some apps or software to restrict our uh, screen time, maybe on phone or computer. Now, this is the good direction, the good side, the bright side. And at the same time, technology also will potentially lead us to a so-called a bad direction, the opposite direction. And for here, because technology is uh, one of the purpose of technology is to make our life easier and more convenient. Yeah, as a result, many technology is almost automatic. And then the example given uh, in the part today is uh, some videos. We after we finish the video, and then it will automatically go to the next one. Yep, and then yeah, so the key here is to make use of the technology, and then we can also use technology to deal with technology. And yeah, uh, I found a terms in our reading session today, which is the side block. This is like an extension of our browser, which actually I also use it currently. Yeah, which we can select which website we don't want to go inside. For example, Facebook, YouTube. If you find yourself spending too much time and uh, uh, go to YouTube or Facebook, you can try this some software or some extension, browser extension like this SiteGround. All right, so this is the technology part. And then, yeah, today we also come across the fourth law, which is to make it satisfying. And one important thing here is um, our brain uh, is more towards instant return, so that uh, if we can create something which can uh, kind of give us even little satisfying feeling uh, to us, then it will be an effective way to cultivate, to form a new habit. For example, in the reading sessions today is the toothpaste. Yeah, the marketers uh, uh, know this and they try to uh, put in the flavor in our toothpaste so that we can get immediate return, and then we will repeat our action, and after that we from the action. Yeah, and then also for this part, it mentions about the importance of emotion. Yeah, this kind of emotion. Um, uh, if something is satisfying, and then maybe in the emotion part, it is something uh, pleasurable. Yeah, and then um, for make it satisfying, it has the aims or the purpose to uh, make us do it for the next time. Yeah, so these are my summary today.
Mm. About the technology, one additional point is about the author have an assistant, and the assistant will help him to lock the passwords
Mm,
each week. And we also seen some example in last reading section. I'm not sure whether it's author or it's one of the guys. He or she wants, I think it's he. Yeah, one of the guy he want to cut loss, and then he signed a contract with the wife, with his wife and his personal trainer, and it's called the commitment device
mm,
or something like contract. Yeah, and if her wife or his personal trainer found that he didn't do the right thing, and he had to give them money. Yeah, for example, like $100 or something. Yeah, and in the last reading section, we also read about the author. I'm not sure is this author or other author. Um, he or she have a deadline to pass the book, and then to pass the book to the editor, and
mm. Yeah.
he or she don't know whether it can be finished uh before the deadline. So he or she ask their assistants, yeah, ask for his assistants to take out all the clothes. And he only left like one set of clothes, which is uh he often he often wear in house, but this is not suitable to wear when you want to go out.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah.
And so he forced himself stay in the room and focus to finish his book. Mm.
Mm.
And all these kind of methods is similar, is using like the contract, using the commitment device. And
Yeah.
I believe, if I'm not wrong, I remember in last reading session or in this reading session, the author say, yeah, this kind of method is extreme, but it's effective.
Mm.
Actually, we can come out a lot of these methods. For example, one of the example, when I was in college, I actually want to learn English. I want to learn the English conversation. So I so and actually at that time I can have an option, and also this thing keep in my mind. I I remember I actually want to do that, but I maybe feel shame or afraid something. What's the thing? Is actually mm, yeah. What I can do is I can tell my friend, hmm, uh, how about we speak English on a certain day, for example, Tuesday or Wednesday. We speak English on that day. So on the day we we can't say Chinese, we can't speak Chinese. We have to use English to communicate. Maybe
Yeah.
after some time we can pick another day, and put in together, so we increase the frequency of
Mm.
speaking English. Mm. And I also have another idea, which is I talk English to them. Yeah, if they don't want, I can talk English to them. And if they want to, speak English with me, or or they want to speak Chinese with me, it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
yeah, but for me, I still can improve my English conversation ability. But I didn't take into actions. Yeah, and this kind of method seems like is very extreme, just like the few example I mentioned just now in the book. But those methods seem extreme is actually effective, and we need to aware, and we also need to know why we didn't take into actions. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't. Yeah, if I believe even you still you also have some similar thoughts, to break a habit or to form a habit by using this kind of methods before reading the book. But maybe we need to ask why at that times we didn't take into actions. Mm,
Yeah.
what we feel at that time. Maybe we feel this unnecessary. Maybe we feel it's shame. It's shameful. Mm, so we didn't take action.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is about the third law,
Mm.
and about the make it satisfying, which is the reward part. The author mentions one thing which is very important, in my opinion, which is the author say the first three law, make it obvious, make it attractive, and make it easy, is to make the habit work. And if you want to make the habit repeat, you have to apply the fourth law. You have to make it satisfying. Otherwise, you won't do it next time.
Yeah.
So if you make the habit feel good, make the make the habit satisfying, and you are telling your brain, yeah, this do doing this feel good. Yeah, do this next time, something like that. Yeah, so you can see how important the rewards. Mm.
Mm.
And also in these reading sections, at the last few part, and we learned about something called immediate satisfactions. Mm.
Yeah.
And what it actually means is actually, it actually, it, yeah, it actually trying to tell us, mm, the immediate satisfactions Did we read this? I think no. Is it? Yeah,
Uh,
no habits.
a
Yeah,
little, just a few lines at the end.
the mismatch between immediate and delayed reward, right? Yeah. But we still haven't covered. Okay, but
Mm,
from here we can see some clue. Yeah, what the author want to mention. The immediate and the delayed reward. And because our brain is still in the ancient age, yeah, just like our ancestors, but we are having an anxious brains, but living in the modern environment. And in our mm, ancient age, what we need is actually we need the immediate satisfactions, because if we don't get the food, we will die. Mm. And if
mm,
we see some dangerous animals, if we don't run, if we don't fight, we will die. So the immediate reactions is very important, and also the immediate satisfactions uh, will uh, what I mean here is our habit is actually based on most of our habit is actually based on uh, the near futures. Yeah. So we won't like plan for the very long futures, because we are concerned about our next meal. We weren't concerned about uh, whether we can eat, whether we can have a good meal in next year. Yeah, we less likely will consider that if we have if we already have trouble in the near future. Yeah, so in that environment, it actually train us to 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 do to do the things, to form the habits which can benefit us in the near future, but not in the very long futures.
yeah,
Mm.
it's like
So our
prayer.
so our brain is like this. So we having this kind of brain, and we want to live in the modern environment. How can we do that? Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is something like the nature of our human brain. So of course we can use our willpower, and we can use some technique to change. Mm. And then, but is there any better and appropriate way to deal with this, so we can reduce our willpower, and then we can still make it satisfying? So this is actually uh means that the immediate rewards is also quite important, and how we get the immediate rewards while working on the long-term activities, long-term events, long-term project. I think this is the key. And also this is a point the author will mention in following paragraph.
oh, okay.
Mm. Yeah, but here we can know the know why. I didn't mention the know how, and yeah, this is the know why. Mm. Okay, so that's all for my summary.
Mm, yeah, and then just like you said that previously, we will have um, some thinking, some intention, some to maybe to form a habit or to break a bad habit, but at the end we still didn't, right?
I mean, using
Ah,
this kind
uh,
of mm, is this kind of contract methods, or this kind of extreme methods.
okay, we call them extreme methods, and then yeah, maybe at that time, um, um, I think besides not decided to do that, and then in our mind maybe we because uh, lacking of knowledge uh, on on the habits on on this area. I mean the habits topic, and then yeah, so that maybe we don't have the confidence, or we don't find it uh, we don't find ourselves being able to form it, or uh, to make it successful.
But the
Uh,
reason is why do you have this kind of thoughts, like applying the extreme methods to form a habit or to break a habit, but eventually you didn't use the method?
um, for me, actually, I don't think my method is can be called extreme like this.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And in my experience is for many habits, because so many years we have been trying to form new habits, and also trying to deal with bad habits, and then mostly we'll find that we couldn't succeed, right? And then yeah, maybe for these things, um we don't have the confidence. Let's say if previously we have formed a few habits successfully, and break a few bad habits successfully, and maybe at that time we in our mind we know that by using the correct methods, or keep changing or improving our methods on uh, along the way, and then we eventually we will form that habit. Yeah, maybe if we have uh, that confidence, and maybe we will have less friction to start using some extreme method to form habits.
Hmm. Yeah, just now you say you don't have you don't think your method is extreme. You don't think. Okay, I ask you a question. Have you, like me, thought about maybe you can speak English with friends in our college life or in your secondary school life? Because maybe at that time you also can aware that actually English is important,
Mm,
and if we if we left the school, if we go out to work, we may need to use English. So
mm.
at that time, will you have the idea that you want to practice English conversations so that maybe you can try to speak English with your friends?
Yeah, for this one, yes, I've tried before with my classmates, and also uh, with few of my friends, which we say we only use English. For this one is writing, messaging, and
Mhm.
also for conversation, for speaking. Also, I've tried, I think 1 or 2 times, but yeah, still yeah, we didn't continue. We didn't repeat doing that.
Yeah, why? So this is the reason. Even though
Uh,
you may try, and actually I did try. What I doing is I speak English to my friend, but it only lasts like maybe maybe a few hours. Hmm.
yeah, but
Yeah.
for this, we are using our willpower, isn't it? That isn't that extreme. For example, if you in the college, if you force yourself to make friends with some people who only can speak English, or for example, in the class, if there are some assignments, presentations in groups, you may also try to uh, uh,
Yeah.
get yourself in
Yeah.
the same
But that's
in the group
mm,
with them, right? That is more extreme.
really.
Yeah, because you need to discuss with them, and they can only speak English. Yeah, so I think in that way, it is an environment that also forcing you to do that.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, in college you have best friends. Can you imagine how about when you tell him, yeah, start from today I will speak English to you, and you can choose whether you want to speak English to me or not. Because I want to practice the English conversations.
Yeah.
Is this kind of method not extreme? Or maybe
Uh,
you ask, and also, yeah, and also imagine the commitment device. You can say, oh, if I speak one Chinese sentence, I will give you like
yeah.
1 ringgit or 5 ringgit. Mm.
Yep.
And or you may and you may ask your friends, your best friend, whether you want to, yeah, maybe you also think English importance. And how about we sign a contract, something like this, and we just speak English with each other.
Mm.
And then if we found that you the counterparty speak Chinese, and you have to put in like 1 ringgit or 5 ringgit into something like the something like a bottle, and at the end this money was split 50-50, something like that. So this means as more you speak Chinese, you need to put in more money, but at the end you need to split 50-50, so you lose some money, something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is this kind of method not extreme?
It is. It is extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
with this kind of condition imply.
But but have you thought this before? I think yes, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Mm. But why we didn't apply? So this is the thing I want to ask. I want you think also. It's not something like we don't form habit. We don't break habits because of something. It's not. Yeah, of course the knowledge is important, and since we learned about this book and we know better about the habits, we can form a habit. But what I want to say is not all method is new. Some of the method is actually we already know.
Mm.
Yeah. So why we didn't do that? Especially for the for this kind of commitment device, because because I have a strong feeling, because I really thought this before. Mm. And I'm not sure whether it's going to work, but I didn't try it. But why I
Mm.
didn't try it, in my deep mind, I would think, yeah, if what if I lose some money? Yeah, what if I didn't do well? Yeah, and also
Mm.
what if uh I give bad impressions to my friends, and
Yeah.
it's so shameful. And what if it hurts the relationship, because maybe if we change to English, we speak less.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have many these kind of thoughts, and
Yeah.
this is not only happen in habit, it will happen in your every decision. So the key point here is not about habit. The key point here is about awareness. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you think about something but you don't act, yeah, it can apply to every aspect. So this is something that I want to point out. It's not only about a habit.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, is there anything?
Yeah. No, that's all.
Okay. Mm. Okay, that's all for our today conversations. How did you feel? Did you enjoy the conversations? Please tell us what you think of our conversation. And we are not native speakers. If you found any vocabulary mistake that we made, please also comment to let us know, because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like, subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.